So, the Portland Trailblazers are trading for Jerami Grant. They're trading a 2025 first round pick via Milwaukee, and then also a 2025 second round pick, as well as a second round pick swap in this year's draft. So, my initial reaction is that this is not a lot for Jerami Grant. You know, a first round pick and a second round pick for a player who was rumored to be traded for a top 10 pick in this year's draft at some point, and who the Pistons certainly could have got more than this had they chosen to trade him earlier. But given, what Christian Wood was traded for not so long ago, when you think about it a bit more, it does make sense for a player of Jerami Grant's quality. So for the Blazers side of things, I think the biggest question is what role Jerami Grant will have, whether he'll be closer to Pistons Jerami Grant, where he was, the number one option in his first year, maybe the number two option in his second, or whether he'll be more like he was on the Nuggets, where he was more of a 3-and-D guy, more of a role player. And I think it's probably a little bit in between. He definitely won't have as much free reign as he did with the Pistons because the Blazers have Dame. But then again, I think they'd probably be hoping for him to do a bit more than he did on the Nuggets. Though if he did that, it still wouldn't be a terrible trade given how little they gave up. So if I think of Jerami Grant on offense, you obviously think of him spotting up for three. He's not a great three-point shooter, but he's certainly a passable one. And then you think of him, maybe being able to, make plays in terms of scoring and jump shots. And maybe some secondary ball handling, when Dame is doubled, when the defense is bringing extra attention to Dame, and when they need him to make a play. And I think Jerami Grant is capable of that, as he showed with the Pistons. And you hope he's really solid defensively. Obviously, around Dame, you need defensive players, and Jerami Grant was certainly a good defender with the Nuggets. And if that's sort of one of the important things in his role, I think he definitely can be a good defender. And now the Blazers, they have Dame, they have Simons in the backcourt, they have Josh Hart, now they have Jerami Grant, and then how they'll build out the rest of the roster should be interesting to see. They still have the 7th pick, which is good for them, whether they can make another trade and go for another good NBA player, or whether they just make that pick. They also have Nurkic's free agency, which they have to decide what they want to do. But overall for the Blazers, to get someone who can contribute as a scorer and a defender for a first-round pick that's not going to be a great first-round pick, the Bucks are going to be good in 2025. I think it's a really good deal for the Blazers, but their offseason certainly isn't over. They have the 7th pick, and we'll have to see what they do because this is a good move, but it can't be the only move for them if they want to build around Dame and get back into the playoffs. And then for the Pistons side of things, so they open up a lot of cap space. I think Jerami Grant's being paid $21 million next year. So now, according to Woj, they have $43 million in cap space. So that's exciting for them, and we'll see what they want to do with it. Something that has been rumored or proposed is maybe trying to sign DeAndre Ayton or Miles Bridges, who are two restricted free agents, so they'd have to throw a pretty big offer sheet, and you'd have to have the Hornets or the Suns not match it. And that could definitely be interesting if they want to get sort of a young star to pair with Cade Cunningham. They also have the 5th pick. So Detroit, they're clearing some cap room. This isn't a massive return for Jerami Grant, and I think the Pistons probably regret not trading him earlier because I feel like 2 first-round picks, or at least a better first-round pick than this one, were definitely on the table at the trade deadline or last offseason, and they waited too long, waited till he was on an expiring contract, and though in the moment it's not a great trade, overall they probably were hoping they'd get more for Jerami Grant. But yeah, for them, at least you get a first-round pick, and now it's about the cap space, it's about who they sign in free agency, it's about who they draft in the future for Detroit. So one more thing on the Blazers side, they might have to give Jerami Grant an extension. He's on an expiring contract, so we'll see how much that is for. If they do extend him, which I would think they would want to. Maybe they just wait till next offseason, but you trade a first round pick. So overall, if I were to give trade grades, I feel like for the Blazers, this is definitely an A, maybe an A-, because you're getting definitely a starting caliber player someone who can contribute, someone who fits pretty well for a first round pick. That's not a great first round pick. And for the Pistons, in the moment, just this trade, I would say probably a B. But overall, given that they could have got Jerami Grant, they could have traded Jerami Grant for more had they done it last offseason. It doesn't look great, but I'm going to give them a B because it's really about what they do with their cap space that's going to make the difference, and Jerami Grant wasn't a part of their long-term future. But anyways, thanks for watching. Leave a like and subscribe for more NBA content.